for anybody that either joins late or Emma's not on, and I know I didn't get to hear her audio, but I do know her sons are both unwell. Who else? We have Susan, Pooja, Lorsav is not on yet, hopefully joining soon, and Gurjeet as well. All right, we're going to kick off, and hopefully ladies will be joining in. Webinar 5.
And I'm here.
Buddy. Oh, there you go. Hey, Lali.
For once. Thank you.
Right from the start. So great. Okay, so delving right in. Who can unmute themselves and generate the purpose and promises of the program? Who hasn't gone yet rather than the 5 weeks? Go for it.
I haven't done it.
Go for it.
I can do it. Okay, right. So program purpose and promises. Who I am is someone who distinguishes and alters my current reality to one that gives me access to love, joy, and peace. Frees myself of existing notions and any past-based templates of relationships. 100% owns how I choose to react or not react to the environment I find myself in. I get to create my environment. Reconnects with my authentic self. Discovers my true duty and purpose in life.
Thanks, Laura. So as you read this, Laura, what areas do you feel you're thriving in? What areas do you feel you're yet to build a muscle in?
Right. I am thriving at number 3. Taking responsibility, owning how I react or not react. Doesn't mean that I'm always reacting in the best way, but at least I'm kind of taking a step back and thinking, that wasn't good. So number 3, and the one, sorry, what was your other question? The one that I'm not thriving in.
Yeah, so where are you still yet to build a muscle?
I would say on all the others.
Okay, great. Anybody else? One other person. I'd love to hear from you. Where are you thriving and where are you yet to build a muscle?
Okay, I'll go. So number 3, I'm thriving in, and number 4 as well. But number 1, I need to work on that more, and number 2 as well.
Love it, Lali. And Lali and Laura, both of you especially, I love there's such a shift in how life is showing up for you guys in your shares, in your updates. So really well done, ladies. And I can see how you're owning your reactions, or not reacting to the environments you find yourselves in. You're creating your own environments, and that's just amazing. So really well done, ladies, for doing that. And again, it's an ongoing journey. So if you look at this and any of you are feeling, crap, I'm not there yet, well, guess what? You're only halfway through the program, right? You're building the muscle. So like we said, be generous with yourself. Alrighty, moving on. Can we have somebody generate the program agreements, please? And when you are, read this like you're reading it for the first time, and listen to it for the rest of you like you're listening to it for the first time, please. Who would like to go?
I'll go.
Go for it.
Okay, just want to acknowledge that I was 2 minutes late, and it doesn't work to be 2 minutes late, and I will do everything I can to be on time in future.
Got it, Emma. Thank you for joining. It's so good to have you on.
Okay, so FITBANKER program agreements. By signing up to this program, I agree to 1, be coachable 100%, 2, take action and do the assignments as per design, 3, be in communication if I'm dealing with or struggling with assignments or an aspect of this program, 4, keep all conversations by other participants confidential and avoid gossiping about any other participant, 5, show up on webinars on time and be fully present.
Thanks a lot, Emma. Can I actually just request any one of you to please message on the group and just check in on Sav. I don't know if she sent a message saying she's going to be late, but just on her whereabouts. Can somebody, thanks Preeti. I can see your head nodding. Thanks a lot. And Gurjeet as well, Sav and Gurjeet, because I haven't heard from them and I just want to make sure that they're all good. I remember the call time.
Sav did message to say that she's going to be on around 6 or 6:15.
Oh, okay, perfect. Anything from Gurj?
Gerge said the same thing. Was it Gerge or who was it? He answered it. No, it wasn't Gerge.
Yeah, Sav and Gurj, they both said they'll join around 6.
Okay, perfect. Thanks a lot. Thank you for creating that. All right, so on to last webinar 4 assignments. So the first was watch the TED Talk. Surrender can give us a life we never knew we wanted. With a show of hands, could I just get a sense of who all watched this TEDx talk? Wait, I'm widening my screen so I can see you all. Okay, great. Tina, you have not watched it. What are you doing? All right.
I put it on my to-do list and then I completely forgot. So yeah, I will make it a point to watch it tonight.
Okie dokes. It's only 14 minutes long, so definitely watch it tonight. All right, the next one is list one area you're thriving in daily. And share on the WhatsApp group and with people in your life. So you guys are being amazing with sharing it in the WhatsApp group on your daily thriving areas. I love it. It's such a rich space of abundance, the way you guys are sharing generously. And there's still some of you that are shying away. And I noticed some of you are sharing areas you're thriving in and areas you're not thriving in, which was not the assignment. But you can see how we always go into, I'm doing this well and I'm yet to develop in blah, blah. There's loads of areas we all have to develop in. But that was not the assignment. But catch yourself when you go into, I'm kind of getting there, but I've got a long way to go. And then life starts showing up in those categories. So be generous and simply share sharing thriving. But I love how all of you are sharing, but there's so much showing up in the space the more you capture truly areas you're thriving in. And lastly, say the daily prayer to the high universe, God, universe, higher power, God, universe, every single morning. Now, with a show of hands, could I have a look at who took this on at least once? Okay, great. Well done. And who took this on for at least an entire week, given we're meeting after 2 weeks? Oh, wow. Very nice. All right. So I'd love to hear from those of you that did this multiple times, from 2 of you. What did you hear for yourself, if anything? And it's okay to say I heard nothing, but what showed up for you as you asked the questions out there? Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say and to whom? Feel free to unmute yourselves and share, please.
Hiya, it's Hina.
Go for it, Hina.
So for me, it's really weird because I got a push to be more positive and to be more helping. I felt like the universe was telling me to check in with some friends and family, and like be powerful in not looking at myself but looking at others. And I did that, and as soon as I started doing that, I realized that actually it's just about taking care of others, and like what would you have me do? It was literally like a question that put me into action. So I don't know whether it was the universe saying something to me or me saying something to myself, but it was like a real kick to do the things that I need to do.
Love it. Thank you, Hina. Lali, you shared something similar where you heard go and serve or do more for others, and you questioned whether it was more of the ego or attachment, right? And
Yeah.
our ultimate purpose or action of the soul that our bodies have taken form in is loving service of others, right? And we've just got disconnected to that higher purpose. And everything we do, and the reason we're so miserable in our everyday lives is because we've forgotten that, and it's become about the I, right? Me,
Yeah.
fulfillment. And that you heard that is amazing because it's realigning to removing the I from Lali's existence and getting connected to the grander collective human race or oneness that exists out there. So it's most certainly not attachment.
Okay, great. That's great. Thank you.
All right, great. So I'm gonna ask you guys now to go around doing the exercise that I asked you to come prepared to share, and stop sharing my.
I can't hear you.
You're on mute.
Sorry.
Okay.
Share.
I lost you guys. Yeah.
Yeah, no, sorry, that was me. I accidentally muted
Okay.
myself. So, now we're gonna do the exercise. I asked you guys to come prepared to share. Come ready to
Okay.
share 3 areas you have accomplished, or 3 things you've accomplished in your journey so far during the duration of this program. And it comes with 3 rules. One is be generous with yourself. I'm gonna remind myself of what the other 2 were. Which I can't recall off the top of my head. All right, be generous with yourself. Keep the shares to 1 minute. If you hear the voice in your head saying, oh man, I haven't got anything to write, then thank yourself for the opinion and carry on. And if the same voice starts comparing yourself to another person's accomplishments, again, thank it for its existence and park it aside. So this is a moment to brag and to be generous. All right, so who'd like to go first?
I'll go first. Right, so I think one of the biggest areas I've been thriving in is just to be more conscious around Mish, who's my husband. Catching myself every time I find myself moaning or complaining about something stupid. And a quick example is one day last week, I was emptying the dishwasher in the morning, and I usually tell him the stuff that's got a bit more oil to scrub it before he puts in the dishwasher, because the dishwasher isn't going to take the oil off. But the next morning I found 3 pieces of, whatever you want to call it, pots and pans, whatever, that were not done properly. And usually I'd have just gone at him and dug into him and called him into the kitchen and showed him what I meant, and literally dug into him. But I just shut up. I said to myself, it's not a big deal. He's trying his best to do what he can. He doesn't work the same way as I do, and maybe I'm a bit more of a perfectionist than he is, but at least he's doing what he can. And I just washed it up, let it go, didn't say a word. And actually it was really liberating to just do that and not have it turn into a massive argument over something so stupid. So that was really good. I think also I'm trying to be more patient with the kids and trying to understand more where they're coming from, and just trying to be more positive around that. Don't know if I can think of a third, or if I know of a third, but I think mainly it's with my kids and Mish, my husband. Obviously I've shared what happened with my friend, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later. But
so here's the thing. So we're going to go around the group, and while we're going around the group, think of your third one. All right, you don't think of a third.
Okay, cool.
I'm going to have some dares ready for you guys.
All right.
All right, who's next?
Go next. Oh.
Go, Daddy, you go.
Okay. Shall I?
Yeah, Lali,
Yeah.
go.
All right. Okay. So I wrote it down. So the first one is getting back here, getting out of the trap mindset. That is just the most amazing feeling ever, to be back in the UK and that chapter. And the second biggest thing that I have never actually done before in my life was understanding where my triggers are. So like, where am I driven by the ego? I've never actually sat back and thought about triggering or that concept. So that helped me to become closer to my authentic self, because I found myself less worked up and getting angry and pissed off and all those other emotions all the time. And then also, like, I was very much a fear person, always in fear. Like I was always really scared of my own voice, scared to speak up, scared to have an opinion. But now I feel a lot more confident with that, and learning what it means to bring 100% to the present moment. So just like be there, right there, and give it your all. That was really something that I've never truly been able to do like for an extended period of time. So yeah, those are my three. Thank you.
Oh, Lali, amazing. I'm so moved by that. And your voice sounds different. When I spoke to you before the challenge started, you were almost whispering on the phone. And yes, possibly,
Yeah, I was scared to talk.
but even your audios that came subsequent to that, your voice was so low key. And I can now, when you share that you just had that suppression going on, it's just amazing. I'm so moved by that. All right, Preeti, you're next.
Hey, so my three accomplishments. So I've broken up and gotten back together with my partner. If I couldn't let go of my ego around it, I would have made it wrong. I've learned that love and fear are at the center of everything. Like you're either in love or in fear. And ego, anger, all of that comes from fear. And if you're not being any of those, then you're being love. And I've also had like my first movie night with my dad and my brother, and we just operate solo in this house. We just kind of do our own thing. So that happened because of this. It's a massive breakthrough. So hopefully more of those.
What did you watch?
Oh, it was an Indian film on Netflix. I can't remember what it was called now, because it has to be dad friendly, obviously. Although things, nothing is sacred. But yeah, it was a couple of weeks ago.
So great.
But some people here know that I don't have the greatest relationship with them. But we all live in the same house, and we just got to a stage where we're just doing our own thing. And I've been building on that in the last 6 months, but it just took another pivot this time. So, during this course, so with every single thing that I'm doing, every self-development course I'm doing, I'm like getting a little bit closer.
Fantastic. So great. Thanks a ton, Preeti. Love it. Just amazing. Who's next? And actually on Preeti, I just want to say, I vividly recall Preeti saying, once it's over, I don't look back, I move forward. And so the breaking up and getting back together is most certainly music to my ears. Awesome. Well done. All right. Who's next, guys? Unmute yourself and jump right in.
I'll go. Okay, so what are my accomplishments so far? So I guess number one is relationship to myself. Although I had a really good relationship to myself, I think there's always another level you can take it, right? So just being really present to who I am in the world, who I am for humanity, who I am for others. That's been a massive thing of late in all areas. So who I am for my family, who I am for the FITBANKER community, who I am for all the people out there, all like Facebook connections and everybody, right? Who I am for my community here. And then allowing others like to show up just the way they are and the way that they're not, right? So when I allow that in the space, a little bit like what Pooja was saying, like around dishes or around like things in the house, and like how Tom mightn't do them the same as me as well. But it's so liberating just to allow it to be, and then just to, like last night, he gave the boys their dinner and left all the pots in the sink, and I was just like, oh man, I could have really gone off on one. And I was like, you know what, just clean the pots. And it's something that you said, Ambi, that your mum was just always coming from a place of serving her family, and that's what I really get. It's so liberating. If you come from that place, it doesn't matter how much you've got to do in a day, or the washing, or whatever it is, or those jobs, right? It's just coming from a different space. So I've really got that. And then being responsible for all my communications in all my areas of life, and and being responsible comes coming from a place of love and compassion. And I just really get that, be responsible when you screwed up, be responsible when when something doesn't land okay with somebody, or be responsible when like you were sharp and you lost your temper with somebody. Be responsible for it. And then when you get to be that, it's like it opens up a whole new world for the other person and for yourself. So yeah, that's what I got so far.
So great, Emma. Thanks a ton. Responsibility, ownership is what I'm hearing so loudly there. Thanks a ton. All right, who's next?
Oh yeah, I can go next.
Go for it, Hina.
So there's quite a few things when I was thinking about this. But like my top three, I think one was me saving, pretty much saving my job. So that's my relationship to work, and I guess more than that, it's my relationship to myself, and like taking that leadership and taking and owning, being responsible for the things that I commit to at work. And in that, I've passed my performance improvement plan, and I've been helping and mentoring some of the junior developers on my new project. So that I never saw happening. I never saw myself as someone that could lead others in that space. And then I've managed to help my brother's dream come true. So him and his wife, well, they got married a year ago, and with lockdown and the circumstances before, they haven't been able to really live together, and they've been looking for a property. So they've pretty much spent the first year of marriage living apart, where they only meet each other sort of like they're dating. And I've helped contribute to him getting his property, and that's on the way. And I wouldn't have been able to do that because I would have been thinking more about my own savings and what I want in my life and what I'm trying to do. And then as well as that, so just today, my mum was cooking for me in between like the time slots I've got, and I went down and food wasn't ready, and I've got very short time. Normally I would have got really upset that, you know, I'm short of time and I told you what I need, or what time constraints I've got. And actually today I was like, it's okay, don't stress yourself. I will do things the other way round. And as long as I get to eat something before I do my 7 o'clock like seminar, because that's till 10, that's fine. And she was really stressed out. She was like, oh my god, you're going to get hungry and you haven't eaten all day because I'm fasting. And yeah, and it was just a very different, like my grandma panicked, she panicked when I went down, and I was able to just be with it's okay, and not get stressed and appreciate that she is cooking for me. And actually she's helped me out in this situation. So it's very different to how it would have been.
Oh, that's such a great mindset. Not only we can be that grateful to those that serve us and remember that they're serving us, the world will be a different place. Thanks, Hina. That's amazing. All right, Susan and Laura, which one of you two are going? Susan, go for it.
Okay. So one of my big things, as you know, was when I had written that I'm always checking my
Susan, hang on. Can you come closer to the mic?
And I'm happy to say I haven't since. Yeah.
Hi, Susan. Can you come closer to the mic?
Can you hear me now?
It's really faint.
Can you hear me?
Not really.
I'm so close.
Are you dialing in from a laptop? I propose doing it from your phone as well. Try coming on Zoom from your mobile, Suze.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna come back to Susan. Laura, you go for it while she's setting up the slide.
Okay. So for me, number one is awareness. So it's like, I think I shared this on the Saturday call. It's just catching myself, you know, like this week, several things happened and I started to go back to, well, first of all, I didn't sleep well. So I was sleeping like between, I don't know, 5 and 6 hours per night, and even 4 hours one night. So generally, if I don't get enough sleep, the next day I'm feeling very kind of, you know, grumpy or low or whatever, you know, all the negative values come up. So this week was one of those. And what I'm finding in the awareness is that, you know, if I get into that mode, I'm suddenly just thinking, right, hold on, why? Why are you grumpy? Why are you treating your daughter like this? Why are you treating your husband like this? So I start, you know, asking myself those questions, and then that kind of helps me just put, you know, sort of like cut it out, and then just go back to, you know, just calm down, because, you know, it's just nonsense. I haven't found the answer as to, you know, like why, but at least it helps me kind of ground myself and calm down and stop being like that. So that's actually good. The other thing is it's just letting go a bit more. You know, it's like what Push was saying, you know, like stop whinging and complaining about small things, and then just letting go. And it could be whatever. It could be, you know, my husband, I don't know, being messy, or, you know, whatever. Right. So I have stopped doing that quite a lot. I did you know, I am practicing every day, kind of like the yes, you know, the yes game, which is right, you know, how many times can I say yes? And every time my daughter or my husband comes and asks for something, my immediate response is no. So in my head, I'm like, right, what are you going to say? Say yes. You know, so practicing that. So that has been good. And I think that's it. It's the awareness, is the letting go a bit more. And yeah, just catching myself.
That's amazing, Laura. You know, where's the angry Laura gone? Have we bid her farewell for good?
She's still there.
She's there. You know, they're always there. The false identity, the ego is our partner for eternity. It's just that they don't get to dominate and run the show anymore, right? When we bring awareness to the conversation, and we can have
it's coming out.
Yeah,
Sorry.
exactly. It's just we can have fun and let go of the significance the ego brings into everything. Really amazing. Thanks a ton, Laura, for sharing. All right, Susan. Hopefully we can hear you from your phone.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing I think that comes to my head right away was the fact that when I had written that I'm always checking my husband's phone to see if there's any messages and any of that. And I'm happy to say since that day, I have not touched any of his phones. Well, except for when I need to use it to call, but I have not checked any messages. I have not gone anything. And it's so freeing. Good God, my self just feels so relaxed. Like I don't care. I don't want to know. There's nothing. It's just my head creating stories. So thank God for that. Another something is when, like a lot of you, catching myself when I'm about to get negative and I'm about to start complaining, and then I ask myself, okay, ego, so what is it? What is it that we're going to get into this time? Let's just let it pass and kind of change the mood. There was that one day I was grumpy, and yes, Ashu told me to jump up and down and then laugh out loud. I did it, and my kids were looking at me like, what is wrong with you, mama? I did the same thing to Liam. One day he was grumpy, and I said, jump up and down and laugh out loud. And then he did it, and he couldn't stop laughing. So that kind of changed my mood, which was nice. And I think more importantly, trying to be in the now, trying to be present with whatever I am doing. Be it just being with the kids or being with Brian. That's a big one too, pattern interruptions, where he'll ask me, do you want to go do this? And I usually, my thing is, no, I just want to stay home and relax because I've had a long day with the kids. I just want to do nothing. But I'm learning, no, you know what, let's do it, let's go. And it ends up being a good time and it ends up being fun. So a lot of little changes, but definitely moving forward positively.
Ah, love it, love it, love it. Freedom from not spying on your husband is amazing.
Yes.
Or checking his phones and just interrupting, pattern interrupting. It's so great. You guys are becoming masters at this. This is so, gosh, amazing. And it's friggin' music to my ears. I love it. Well done, every one of you. And as Gurjeet and Saf catch up on the recording, we'd love for you guys to share on the WhatsApp group. What's showing up for you? You know, where have you guys been really hitting goals and thriving? 3 areas. And let's bring that on. All right, sharing my screen again. Webinar 5 objectives is all about forgiveness. Now that you guys are pros at all the other areas, let's delve into forgiveness, letting go, opening your heart, and healing. Why is this important? This is important because if you are keen on understanding the definition of love, then it is your capacity to forgive endlessly by Radhanath Swami. Now, usually we have one quote, but I loved all of these quotes, so I just had to put them in here. And each of them are by leaders or mentors or gurus or, world inspirations. And it's no wonder that everybody emphasizes on forgiveness, because there's no way you get to build a relationship with yourself without forgiveness. So Radhanath Swami, my chosen spiritual mentor, defines love as the capacity to forgive endlessly. Mahatma Gandhi adds, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is an attribute of the strong. Nelson Mandela, forgiveness liberates the soul. It removes fear. That's why it's such a powerful weapon. And lastly, Martin Luther King. We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. There is some good in the worst of us and some evil in the best of us. When we discover this, we are less prone to hate our enemies. So, forgiveness becomes the critical tool, the most important tool when you are standing in awakening the manifestor stage, ladies, and starting to truly embody life is happening for me. Now, when we look at this level of consciousness where life is happening to me, it's a stage where your mental energy is something you're starting to learn about. How you are not a physical body living as separate entities, looking across the screen as Emma separate to me, or Lali separate to Pooja, or Susan's different to Laura. When you get that we're actually, physics talks about it, and physics explains it in the form of quantum physics, where we are all energy. We're actually particles. An atom has proton, neutron, and electrons. And electrons circulate around the proton, a little atom, right? And collective energy, when put together, creates the most, explosive forces, as the atomic bomb showed us, atom bomb showed us. And that is the energy that's existing around us at all given times as spiritual energy. So any shift in your being here will cause ripple effects out there. We talked about the butterfly effect. That's how it happens. And that's where you get to understand it, entering this realm. Your thoughts are almost mental energy units. And we learn to imagine a different kind of life. Visualization is powerful here. How to imagine correctly. And even with visualization, guys, I'm gonna, a lot of visualization practices have you do collages, etc., that are having you visualize on what it is you're doing, right? Or what it is you have accomplished materialistically. I want you to start visualizing who you will be when you accomplish all that it is you want to accomplish. Happy, content, joyful, at peace, loving, whatever it is. That's the level of visualization we want to look at. When we're standing and life is happening for me, it sets us further in our path of growth, development, and unfoldment. People realize that you pay more attention to what you don't want than what you do want. And when you start realizing that we're constantly paying more attention to what we don't want than what we do want, then you learn to let go of what it is that your energy, wherever your energy is going, that's where your attention will go. And often we ponder so much on what the heck we don't want, we completely forget to manifest what it is we do want. Your language starts to become very intentional. And I'm hearing that with all of you in the daily thriving practice, right? Your language is becoming so powerful. Every one of you consistently in your shares of areas you're thriving demonstrated responsibility and ownership. You're owning your lives, ladies. You're starting to own your lives. You're starting to be responsible, not in the context of how the world uses it in terms of blame, but in terms of power and accountability. And that's amazing. You learn how to manifest by mastering laws that don't mean giving into something, that mean owning, rising above what it is. Now at this level, and we're gonna let me see. Okay, so I'm going to bring that up in the next webinar. So at this level, all there is for you guys to get is the sense of ownership, right? And it's about going and getting. It's about achieving. It's accomplishment. And we looked webinar 4 at the 5 steps to awaken the manifestor: acceptance, surrender, forgiveness, compassion, and gratitude. And we're solely going to focus on forgiveness. It's such an important point. It's an entirely standalone module in this webinar. Now, what is forgiveness? Let's actually delve into that. I want to hear from 2 to 3 of you. What do you understand by forgiveness? Feel free to unmute yourselves and share.
When you bring love and compassion to somebody, even when you might not agree with them, or when they may have done you wrong or caused you harm.
Thanks, Emma. Who else? Bringing love and compassion. What else? How else do you understand forgiveness? And doesn't necessarily, guys, need to be in a positive context. For some people, forgiveness.
Yeah, for me, it's letting go. Sorry, it's letting go of any resentment that we hold against someone for something that they've done.
All right, I see heads nodding. Letting go of resentments. Great. Has Hina fallen off the call? I can't see her.
She said that she's got to go.
Yep, that's right. Thank you. Okay. One other person. What does forgiveness mean to you? What do you understand by it?
Not holding that grudge or anger.
Not holding any grudge or anger?
Yeah.
Thanks. And Gurj, you were saying something, but you're on mute. Oh, we still can't hear you. Sorry, Gurj, we still can't hear you. That's random. You're unmuted. Okay. Not sure what's going. Try dialing off. Can you hear us okay? All right. In that case, just try typing it and try dialing off and on again. But as long as you can hear us, yeah, I do want you to participate. So try dialing off and on again. If it helps, or just try switching your camera off and on again, because you are unmuted on this end and you can hear everybody else. Okay, I am going to move on while Gurj sorts out her tech aspects, but I want you guys to start looking at, so everything you've talked about, right, is almost in the context of relationships. But I want you to consider you hold on to a lot more resentment, bitterness, incompletion in many areas, right? Consider there's multiple aspects of our existence where times we don't even remember to forgive or that we choose not to, such as money decisions, right? Think of how you were raised, how parents created finances for you, what losses look like for you there, what worked, what didn't work, and where you've got some form of bitterness or incompletion there around money decisions. Relationships, right? It could be with people you're married to, dating, exes, but it's also parents, right? How many of you are making your parents wrong for something? I shared on Saturday's call, the Q&As, that I had a breakdown last week. Well, I had multiple breakdowns last week, multiple meltdowns. Emotions were at all-time high, or maybe are at all-time high. Knowing, sorry guys, bear with me for a second. With Ronnie off tomorrow, multiple FITBANKER programs running simultaneously. He's doing Kilimanjaro. So it's a new space of growth for me. With Ronnie gone, newborn, Kanea, and so emotions are like, whew. And it's really putting into practice being present. And anything that happens is enough to tip me over into explosive state. And in that space, somebody we knew said they had an agreement to be on something, one of our coaches, and didn't show up, and simply sent me a message 10 minutes before saying, hey, I'm not going to be on, I'll watch the recording later. And that our training is not that. Our training is you are your word. And I was furious. I was furious at the person, right, for not showing up. It felt like it didn't actually show up as they were breaking the agreement. It almost felt like they were being disobedient. And instantly, and I really had to do the work myself. Why was that such a trigger for me? And why it was a trigger for me was because as a kid, my experience, my memory of my childhood is anywhere I was out of line, I was beaten for it. And I got that I hadn't actually forgiven my parents for it. So I do life always within the borders, within the lines, being the goody two shoes, right? Because I didn't want to be punished for stuff. And it just was so, and I've done great in many areas, but I can only imagine where else I would be if I actually forgave my parents and didn't keep living life with a nail in my foot of, I can't do that because I'm going to be told off, or people are going to think I'm bad or wrong. And the minute I got to pause, reflect, bring awareness, get over the attachment of it has to be done only one way, and it's the way the person of quote unquote authority says, it gives the freedom to discover and be in a whole new relationship. And it has nothing to do with that person just not showing up. They communicated. But it was all to do with how me getting present to the incompletion and lack of forgiveness I had from my parents. They simply acted the way they were raised. They were beaten when they were raised. It was common, right? And then their parents were beaten the way they were raised. My dad comes from an army family, and they know no other way of parenting other than if a kid doesn't listen or is out of line, then smack them. And God, at the age of 38, I got present to that and can let go of that. It was amazing. And it still shows up, but I'm catching it, right? So parents, siblings, colleagues, neighbors, strangers, somebody just pushes past you on a train and it bothers the heck out of you. And then you walk away, but somewhere in your head, something's already triggered, right? People are rude, people are whatever, X. So think about it. Sex, right? Like I shared with you guys, what showed up with that first boyfriend of mine, Karthik, and making him so wrong for lying to me about him being a virgin, put sex as something that came with a painful connotation. And it took forgiveness to actually get over that. And in me standing in forgiveness, randomly 2 years ago, this guy reaches out to me on Facebook. We're not even Facebook friends. I cut him out. And just saying, hey, how's it going? And I was really short and snappy in my responses. Actually, no, I was a while back when he got back in touch this time. I was just being love. And he sent a long message and he said, I've got a daughter now. And I feel what I did to you was really wrong. And I just want to apologize. And I couldn't believe it, right? Like here we are at the age of 38. He's apologizing for something 20 years ago, randomly out of the blue, just reaches out to me. And I got that it's in me standing in forgiveness and sending this guy love and compassion, just whichever part of the world he was, and I didn't even know where he was, that he shows up in that space randomly days later. And I was in New Zealand visiting my parents then. And I told Ronnie, I was like, oh my God, he messaged and he said this. And I felt so complete and so powerful standing in, wow, it's amazing what we can manifest. So look at where there's incompletions or unhealed aspects where you are holding on to some hurt, pain, resentment around sex. Personal failures, jobs, even something as simple as high school races, competitions, quizzes, tests, exams. Where have personal failures somewhere within you brought a block or a barrier? Communication. You said X, others didn't get it, or others said something and you didn't get it, and somewhere some tension got formed, and in that space that pattern just repeated. Career choices. Many of us take on careers that our parents or society chose for us. I know particularly for Asians or Indians, it was very common. Grew up and there was like 5 or so chosen careers. You pick one of them: doctor, accountant, engineer, a lawyer, right? And I don't know at what age I said doctor, for the heck of saying doctor, and then lived into that. Sorry, guys, bear with me for a second. Okay. Career choices. And you really want to be writing down, guys, notes for yourself where this is showing up, right? Doctor showed up for me and then spent friggin' my first 28 years of existence pursuing that path, which is mental. I was very clear when I was doing my A levels that being a doctor is so not for me. I don't want to sit next to sick people in a hospital. And so what do? I was like, okay, you know what? Something called a scientist is becoming very popular. Let me go become a medical scientist. And it's hopefully studying less than a doctor. In fact, it took bloody double the time to get my friggin' doctorate just to get those 2 letters in front of my name, only to then go on transition industries and not work in the medical sector world anymore. Like, it was mental. But this, again, it was not necessarily parents. It was just my attachment, my self-worth was to a qualification because I thought society needed it, right? And it was bringing self-forgiveness here of why on earth did I spend so much time there making myself wrong many, many, many a times. So want to hear from you guys. Where have you not forgiven yourself? In relationships, I know there's a lot, but in any one of these other areas as well. Like, what are you hearing for yourself? Where are blockages there that you forgot were even there because it becomes so normal? You carry that extra friggin' baggage from the past glued to your hip, like it's the truth, except it's not. Like it's the part of you, except it's not. You've just not forgiven, and therefore you're carrying a friggin' burden from years and years and years and years. Who wants to share? What are you getting present to?
Mine is quite recent, career choices. So I've been talking about opening a vegan cafe for about 5 years, and I still haven't done it. And it just keeps coming up for me. And I went and shared it with everyone because I thought that will make me do it. And now people ask me, and it's still not done. And it bugs me, not because I just need a cafe, but it's just like I can't do it. I can't do it. You're just not capable. You just can't do it.
Beautiful. And I say beautiful in that you have the awareness that's there. So who are you not forgiving here, Preeti? Like, what's there for you?
I think it's just myself. I can't connect it to anything else. I think it's just myself.
You're making yourself wrong?
Yeah.
What? For leaving your job or for not starting the vegan cafe?
Not starting the cafe, but also right now, like I'm enjoying just exploring because I can, but I don't really know where I'm going, but I'm excited about that. But the cafe thing, yeah, it just bothers me because I just feel I'm not capable, and I just feel that somebody else is going to get in and they'll take my idea, even though like every other person probably wants to open a cafe, but to me it's just so precious. And then when somebody else does it, I'll feel really resentful, and then I won't want to do it.
Got it. Great. And hold on to that, okay? And it's great that you're present to that. And also, since we're such an interconnected universe, Sav, when you watch this recording, this is a potential partnership opportunity. So Sav had her own vegan cafe, FYI, called, what was it? Green Goat or Grassy Goat or something. Sorry, Sav, I've been there and I completely forgot the name, which she's shut down now, but just did an amazing job there with her recipes and like everything out there. And it didn't work out because it didn't work out. But there's some scope there, like to explore, because her heart's also in this. So putting this out there in the universe, you to connect and explore what there is to create in partnerships, because life done solo just doesn't work. But thank you for acknowledging where you're making yourself wrong for something you said you're passionate about but haven't moved in the direction yet. Who else? What are you guys hearing for yourself? Where are areas you've just blocked, put barriers, because it occurs as the truth, but all that's there is that you just haven't forgiven yourself or others?
For me, I had a big block with my degree choice. So I just like I picked something that I thought I was interested in, and I was interested in it and I did really well in it. But I felt like when it came to finding work, I had such a difficult time because there wasn't like a practical application, and it was kind of like I just did whatever the subject that I did. Hardly know anyone who's done that, and like I felt so much shame because people were always looking down on me for what I did, and that like, oh, I feel like I didn't make it now and it's still down to that choice. So I don't trust myself when it comes to making other decisions. I
Great.
feel like I'm just a really bad doomed decision maker.
Awesome. Thanks for creating that. And also one thing, what you said, to catch your language, that because of that, people were always looking down on me, was not the truth, right? It's your perception of how people related to Lali. And even if somebody,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like they would like make comments all the time, like negative comments. Even my husband is still making. He's like, "I would never let my daughter do what you did. You're whatever, blah blah blah." So it was just like a lot for me to handle.
I got it. And it's all stemming from Lali's relationship to Lali, but get that there's somewhere there you're making yourself so wrong for that qualification choice that heck, the universe is going to keep reminding you of how pathetic and useless you were and how doomed you are when it comes to decision making, because you just haven't forgiven yourself, right? I had zero capacity to forgive my parents, which I didn't even know I was holding on to those resentments for, being strict parents or being the only parents they knew how to, that I have morphed into that way of being, that the minute somebody steps out of the box that's been created for them, hallelujah, bless them, because I'm going to pull out the axe and slay them, right? And that side of me, or my ego, only comes because it's a learned behavior, and it comes from lack of forgiveness, right? Where there's love and compassion, that behavior doesn't exist. And I had to bring the love and compassion to my parents, but also to myself. I was making myself so wrong for being clueless and just not knowing and picking career choices that required me to slog endlessly. I mean, you become a friggin' medical scientist after studying for your entire 20s, graduate at 28 with a doctorate, and then move to London, and your like first salaries in the late 20s, it's like 29K, was just a joke and embarrassing. But heck, everybody loved the doctor title, and then they give you the wows when you enter societies and social circles, and like, oh, you sound so wise, and I kind of sound like Einstein. But I was like, I'm hating it, but I was so making myself wrong for that choice, that degree choice, and felt like maybe I should go do an MBA and become a bit more smarter and get some, street savviness up my sleeve, which is just crazy, right? So well done for getting present to that, Lali. All right, one more person. What are you hearing from this in terms of where have you just sold out on yourself because you haven't forgiven yourself or another in any one of these areas? Where are you still carrying that goddamn baggage on your back?
I have a long list.
What is, yeah, and I'm so glad you guys are doing this, because it's going to come on later in the webinar. But what's there top of mind for you, Laura? Pick one.
I mean, the two key ones are my mom and my dad.
Yeah.
And then number 3 is myself. So mom and dad, because because my dad wasn't in my life. My mom, because I blame her, because she made, well, in my mind, she made bad choices, right? With both marriages. And that meant that I never had a family, and a happy family. And no siblings, because my mom always said, no, I'm only going to have one child. I'm only going to have one child. And she always made jokes about it. And that hurt me, because I did want a sibling. So yeah, the big ones are my mom and my dad. And right now, myself, because I think I'm not a good wife. So that's it for me.
Thank you, Laura, for sharing so vulnerably and having the courage to be so open. And I want you guys to get that right now, while these other areas are showing, ultimately in each one of these areas, there are others we are making wrong, right? And there are perhaps, get into it, ultimately, but at the front of it, like the forefront, instantly when we say people to forgive, it's always the context of another. And I want you to get, people who make us most angry are our most important teachers. They indicate the limits of our capacity for forgiveness. And I love this. This is Preeti, Emma, Susan. You're going to come across this in, in Course of Miracles, or even in Marianne Williamson's book. And I think it's such a powerful context. When I read it, I had to reread it and digest it. It can be hard to let go of your perception of someone else's guilt when you know that by every standard of ethics, morality, integrity, you're right and they're at fault. But the question is, and this is something Ronnie and I will always say to each other, or he will often remind me and others that we're coaching, is despite all of those, all that evidence there, right, of how another person's wrong, bad, guilty, the choice is yours. Do you want to be happy or do you want to be right? And when you're standing and wanting to be right, hell, you'll be standing, in that court, right by every legal aspect, but you've killed off all relationships around you. And you may not be in a physical court that we understand, but you're standing in the light, in the court of your life, accountable to yourself, recognizing, hey, why am I playing this game solo? It's because everybody else you slayed away being right. When you choose to be happy, it comes from deep power within to forgive. In choosing to affirm a person's guilt, we choose to experience more of it. The more we see the flaws in another person, the more we're going to keep making them wrong. And in punishing others, we ultimately are punishing ourselves. A negative charge towards another, guys, is a negative charge towards ourselves. That's just how energy works, right? It's basic physics. When we attack another, it's almost like we're holding a sword over their head, but we cut off our own head. We talked about mental toxins 2 webinars ago. And why they're called mental toxins is not just as a metaphor. It truly is because it changed the chemistry, the biochemistry within the blood. When the molecules within our body are vibrating at that frequency of stress, it alters the chemistry with biochemistry within us, and it causes our blood cells to be poisoned, quote unquote, with the chemical reactions that get released, with the stress hormones that get released, right? So you are slaying your own head when you're putting a dagger out at another. What we think is someone's guilt is in fact fear. Angry, rude, manipulative, cruel, abusive, physically, emotionally, mentally. When people show up that way, it's simply from them coming from a place of being afraid in life, from their own unhealed wounds. And what there's for you to get is, when you cut people out, then we do the grandest disservice to them. Darkness does not dissolve darkness. Love dissolves darkness. Right? Darkness is merely the absence of light. And fear is merely the absence of love. So the first step, guys, to forgiveness is opening a closed heart. And this, again, is not just a metaphor. When we're angry at people, we actually do close our hearts. We literally, at an energy level, energy is supposed to flow through us. That's when we're most open. The reason people have heart attacks, blockages, cancers, diabetes, all these ailments, infections that have blocked aspects of our existence. Think about your gut, your ovaries, your reproductive systems. How many women are getting polycystic ovaries? How many women are getting various ailments in the reproductive systems, right? Or digestive system issues. All of these are because we blocked energies within us, right? And forgiveness gives you access to opening all of these. And it begins with inner forgiveness. Inner forgiveness is your most powerful, beyond measure, access to transforming your past. the concept of transforming your past, when I heard it the first time, it just blew my mind. Because you never ever relate to the past as something to be transformed. The past feels like it's gone, it's done. You can't do anything about it. In fact, people say the past is the past, or bygones be bygones. But when you can transform your past, heck, that's a whole new realm to operate in. Because it is the past that you're living in right here in this moment, right? Your past is here, and therefore it's urgent to transform the past so that it frees you up to live in this moment with zero imprints from the past, zero unhealed wounds from the past. Right now, if I look across the screen, Preeti, Susan, Laura, Gurjeet, Emma, Pooja, and Lali, you guys aren't here in this moment, right? You guys are a accumulation of all of the past things where life has done you wrong, where you have done others wrong, and you carry that unforgiveness, the guilt, the heaviness with you everywhere you go, right? How many of you experience headaches ever in your existence? How many of you experience heartaches, right? It's not just because you have a headache. These are blockages within you, right? And when the energy stops flowing, then it stays with those organs and just circulates around it, right? That's just the way energy flows. And hence forgiveness begins with opening your heart. Your heart is the energy center. Every school of wisdom, whether it's Chinese, Indian, others, talk about this energy within us. It's either called chi, it's called shakti, it's called spirit, and we all have this inner energy. And energy can be high when you open your heart, right? If you look and think about people who are enlightened or generally happy in life, they have this high frequency with them. They're like, hey, how's it going? So happy to see you, right? Or if you think of spiritual leaders, they're always smiling and laughing and cracking jokes when they're delivering their discourses. And now think of people who are depressed or angry or upset. There's such a heaviness in their, just when they show up in the room, you can feel that energy. They don't need to tell you they're having a bad day, right? You feel that energy, that heaviness, because it's just blocked. They're like a friggin' ton of bricks just there. And that's what happens when people get depression, right? The energy levels are completely blocked within them. They stop flowing. So when you open your heart, the energy starts to flow and your body starts to experience love, enthusiasm, and joy. And what we want to train you from today's webinar is two things. Train yourself to stop closing your heart and train yourself to start opening your heart. We are programmed to open and close. That's something that we constantly do. Think about it, right? Like your kid screams or your dad says something or your partner says something, instantly it'll be a trigger because it's a familiar pattern and you will want to go into the respond mode or the react mode. And what you guys are already starting to do is catch it. And that's brilliant that you're starting to catch it, because when you start to catch it, you then get present to the first step of forgiveness, which is our traffic light forgiveness system. The first step is stop. And that's what you guys are doing. You're stopping yourselves. You're stopping yourselves from reacting and bringing awareness to this trigger has just gone off. All right. Sorry about that, guys, and that interruption. No idea how that got cut midway. Anyways, we are where we are. All right. So back to our traffic light. So you guys are already doing the stop step, which is really getting present to where life isn't working for you. And when you do that, you're preventing a knock-on domino effect that would happen if you didn't catch it, right? The reason your heart starts closing and the energy starts getting blocked is because we start reinforcing. And imagine your brain being this bowl of clay. And the minute you have a trigger there, it will form a groove. And the more, and in Sanskrit or in ancient wisdom, they call these vasanas, right? Or sanskaras, which are basically impressions that get formed. And imagine that first groove, that first impression being formed, the first time you ever had a trigger, something's wrong here, I'm not enough, I'm doomed because I make worse decisions, or I'm so indecisive, whatever it is, right? Think about it. My mom, can't have or give me a happy family. The first time those impressions get put into our body, then we will find evidence everywhere we go. And the minute that trigger happens, the impression gets deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And the energies within us get more and more blocked and stopped. And how to forgive, so simple. How to open your heart is so simple, because you stop, you stop, you stop, you stop. And the quicker you stop yourself, the quicker you stop that cascade of negative emotions happening. How many of you, just with a show of hands across the screen, have had the tiniest argument spark into a world war? You know, just like something as simple as, yeah, I think all of us could forget our hands. I can put my hands, feet, and every friggin' thing I can raise up in the room, right? I can see Gurjeet lifting her legs as well. And you're right, like, and it only happens because it's not that conversation. It is that very familiar impression that's been so deeply ingrained and triggered right away. So stop. The next step is witness and relax, right? When you witness, is bringing the awareness to that. And the moment you can pause and become the witness, a step away from the reactor. And why am I hearing an echo here? All right, everybody. So the minute I can experience myself going to reaction mode, pause. And when you pause, you literally take yourself out of the seat of the reactor and put yourself back in the seat of the creator. So you then, as a creator, witness that who is this person having this thought, right? It's the mind. What is this thing having the thought? It's the mind. And the mind wants to say X, Y, Z, and I can separate myself from saying that. Now, I have had experiences where I'm very much the witnesser and my mouth is still friggin' cussing, right? And it's a journey. Like, it takes some muscle building. When you, like last week, I went and picked up Kanaya from school. It was hot as hell, 34 degrees. I took Soham on me in the baby carrier, and my chest was just drenched. Like, I could feel water just dripping because it was so hot. And I picked Kanaya. I didn't take the pram that day, took a bike. He wanted his ice cream before we left. And I was like, you're on a bike, you can't hold ice cream, so let's just go home. It was a 7-minute walk. His school was a 7-minute walk. It took us an hour to get back because he cried along the whole way. I had million meltdowns yelling at this like 3-year-old kid, poor guy, right? Come on, stop moving. Like, why are you stopping? And there were so many stops. I could, every part of my witnesser could witness that I am furious. Stop, just stop it. Stop yelling at the kid, right? But the ego was so hell-bent on making that other person wrong. It just went off. And I spent, you know, there's a part of me that still feels like shit as hell about that, right? And I've got to really put in a practice that forgiveness, because it binds you to the past, right? It has such a strong energy. And all that kid just wanted was, perhaps I could have just got the friggin' ice cream and waited for 5 minutes. You know, we would have been home in 12 minutes instead of 7. Instead, we took a whole friggin' hour, and I came on, I was livid. And it has this cascading impact, right? So witness. And when you witness, it gives you access to releasing and letting go. But not just releasing and letting go of that moment, guys. It's releasing and letting go of every time that triggers happen. This is not a linear progression of, okay, I've got to step 1 now, and then step 2, and then in terms of how quickly you can forgive. It happens instantaneously. The minute you choose to stop reacting, the let go almost happens so quickly, and it's powerful. And hence, forgiveness is not, it's not something people say, oh, I'm working on forgiving others. We've kind of got this myth from somewhere that it's a long journey of forgiveness. No, forgiveness is a choice that happens right now, right here in this moment. All right. And I haven't forgiven myself. That's why the charge still is here for me when I share this narrative with you guys. And I got to just let it go. And I choose to let it go right now because it serves nobody. All right. And I get that I hadn't let go of it because I just experienced some aspect of guilt in sharing this narrative with you, right? So live and so raw. And this moment, I choose to release and let go. Forgive Ambika for her impatience in the moment, and bring compassion to this 3-year-old Kanaya that just needed an ice cream and wanted his mom to hear him, and she just didn't hear him. All right, ladies. So opening your heart, 3 very, very simple steps. Don't let anything become more important in your life than allowing your heart to stay open. Don't let anything become more important in your life or important enough to close your heart. It's not worth it. Keep seeking the excitement and enthusiasm of staying open. Challenge yourself to stay open. Play a game, right? What does it look like to stay open in this moment? Allow the energy to just flow. Stop, 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 stop. Keep stopping. And nothing, to reiterate, emphasize, put in bold, is ever worth closing in on. All right, so time for our assignment for this week. Actually, before we go on the assignment, can you guys still see my screen? The presentation?
We see the traffic light.
All right, turn off my screen. Laptop thing, there you go. Okay. I'm not gonna do that. So before we go on to our assignment, what are you guys hearing for yourself here around your hearts closing and what it takes to open your hearts? What's there for you around forgiveness and choosing to be happy versus choosing to be right?
What I got is that you can do it instantaneously, that you can just choose to let go. It doesn't have to be some big drama around it. Yeah.
Thanks, Preeti. Who else? What are you guys hearing for yourself?
What's coming up for me is when I see the traffic light, it's like, yeah, that's what I started doing this week with small things. But with these big things that I shared earlier, I'm like, it's not that easy. It's not going to be that easy.
Why is it not going to be that easy?
Because of what you're saying, because of, I choose to be right.
Yeah, right. The ego is so married to being right. It's going to make sure as hell that others know that they tortured Laura, right? That your mom's decisions screwed up Laura's life. She never got to have a sibling. She never got to have a dad. She never got to have a happy family, right? Your ego is very, very committed to keeping that narrative very alive for you, right? Because then you get to justify being angry all the time.
Yep.
Consider your mom didn't have the Bible on relationships or on parenting. She just had her own ego, monsters, and her own insecurities that kept her taking whatever choices she took on. Can you guys hear me? Are you guys there? Can you hear me?
Okay.
Okay.
We can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So did you hear the last bit, Laura, that your mom was a human being whose ego was doing what it was, whose inner monsters were doing what they were? And she's on her own journey, and she just happens to be your mom karmically in this lifetime. And you got given the mountain that you got given. And you are given the mountain you were given so that you can pave the path for others. And that's been one of my greatest mottos in life. I read this, 2 years ago, and it just struck such a deep chord. Every time I feel like, why on earth is this happening to me? I remind myself that I am given this mountain to pave the path for others. Right?
To what? Sorry, you're giving the mountain to what? To pay for?
To pave, P-A-V, pave the path for others.
Okay.
Right? Everybody has their own mountain, right? If I look around this, some of us have been divorced, right? Some of us have had dates that never happened. Some of us have had boyfriends who've committed suicide. Some of us have had, parents that never afforded us a mom and a dad. Some of us have had dads dying on us young, right? Some of us have had parents never there when we were growing up. Everybody's had such different relationships growing up with parents or siblings or those we considered as partners or boyfriends. But each one of us got exactly what we needed for us to grow spiritually on our respective paths. Nothing is ever a misfortune when you get that everything is here to teach us. Like I said, the people who make us most angry, Laura, are our most important teachers.
Yep, I get it.
Yeah. And thank you for sharing. Really, really want to acknowledge you. Who else, guys? What's showing up for you? And you know what? I can feel the heaviness and the energy amongst the group right now. It's like the friggin' everything is like crashing. Everybody's faces are frozen on my screen. It's like a big, big topic for everybody, right? Like all that energy that's just been blocked within you is somehow starting to flow, or like you're holding hell onto the resistance. What else is there for you guys? What are you hearing?
I'm just here right now. I'm dealing with Ethan being really unsettled, and I'm like, right, you can bring, because I'm listening to you obviously and paying attention, and I'm like, if I can just like stop, relax, and release and let go. Like you can be with anything, you can be with any drama, any, like, if they're not feeling great, if they're just doing whatever they're doing in the moment, right? So that's what's coming up for me. And also there's a lot around, like, when I went to train as a midwife and also like having it that my mum pushed me to go to uni and that she had me be a midwife, and then I was a midwife for 20 years. Yeah, the heaviness is there because is the real of ourselves and others for, I guess.
Thanks, Emma, for sharing that. And guys, the power in this traffic light, SWLT, stop, witness, and let go, is really amazing, right? If you look at a house right now, there's just stuff everywhere with the packing for Kilimanjaro. And it's not like packing for holiday. You got to pack everything in friggin' Ziploc bags because the porters carry the stuff on their head. And then each layer and every level, like, half of you in this have done Kilimanjaro. But then it's like all the stuff you're taking for everybody else is like, it's a messy place, gives a messy mind. And to just be with, all right, this is what it is right now. Be with it. Choose. Stop. I catch my mind going into make wrong of why isn't this done yet? Or why are we not more effective with packing? Why are we not better planned? Why is there so much going on? Like there's so many things in a day that we actually make wrong. I want you to consider how much blocked energy there is within us. Every single day, I do a daily forgiveness practice in my meditation. Every single day. And it's freeing. It's so, so freeing, right? And I do it for the last 24 hours. But inevitably, there are some relationships where I will continuously make those people wrong because I think they're just so hell-bent on screwing up their health that they're never going to shift. Or they're so hell-bent on seeing themselves as victims that, I'm never going to get through to them. But as long as I have the judgment of them, that they're never going to transform their relationships or never transform their health, then I'm selling out on them and I'm just being the biggest hypocrite out there, right? So it's bringing forgiveness or asking them for forgiveness in my daily meditation, right? For making them wrong and releasing the energy I have blocked within me. And it's so healing and so powerful, right? So on that note, thank you everybody that did share. This is your assignment for this week. Daily practice and journal. Forgiveness to others and self-forgiveness. Remember, a negative charge to another Can you hear me?
We couldn't hear you. The last bits that you were saying, your audio went.
All right, I'm just going to say that again. That I do daily forgiveness meditation every single day, right? And it's so powerful to do that process because I do it within the last 24 hours. Like who ruffled my feathers? Who did I make wrong? What upset me? Circumstances, people, and it's so freeing to do this daily forgiveness practice. But also, where am I making myself wrong? And there's this guilt and shame that we carry on for days at times, right? Like Preeti, 5 years since I've been talking about vegan cafe, I haven't done it yet. Forgive yourself, bring compassion, right? Like press the reset button today. What does that look like? Right? Today's day one rather than five years later. But also, you know, when we have opinions and judgments of others, I have opinion judgments of people in my life, in my inner circle, where I think they're so stubborn, they're never going to change their health. Or they're so trapped in victim consciousness, there's no way their relationship will transform. As long as I have that opinion of them, I'm selling out of them. And in my meditation practice, I ask them for forgiveness in my meditation. And I visualize like an energy of forgiveness flowing from them to me. And it's amazing. The blockages, the judgment, the anger, the attachment of them being a certain way just all ceases to exist in doing the exercise here where I am. So take on this daily practice of journal. To journal forgiveness to others and self-forgiveness using the SWLG, which is stop, witness, let go. And the second one is pick the person you are most incomplete with, most furious with, most upset with, the one person who screwed you over the most. You probably have multiple people on this list. But let's go with the one right at the top. And write them a letter and ask them for forgiveness. And you have a choice. You're more than welcome to send them the letter or email it to them or send a photo. Or you can just share it on the group, right? But share it on the group for sure. Because the more you get that out of your system, even just writing it, I want you to consider penning it down will release the energy. Energy flows, right? Will release the energy from your physical body over to the piece of paper and get it out of your system. And science shows that if you think about it, you receive a letter from a loved one, and when you open the letter, it totally makes your day. Energy is transferred, you know, from that energy source to you. And similarly, when you get the negativity out of your system, that too gets transferred from one form to another. So get out of your body. Allow the energy to start flowing through your body, guys, and open those closed hearts. So that's all we have for today. We're actually, I thought we were going to finish much earlier, but we're good. We have 4 minutes to go. And so any questions or anything there for you guys before we log off or before the Wi-Fi gods kick us off?
B, a question on your daily meditation. You said you do a forgiveness meditation. Do you listen to anything or do you just sit quietly?
I did do a 20-minute guided meditation 2017, almost daily. And now I just do it in silence for 30 minutes. So I go through, and the founder of Mind Valley had created the 6-phase guided meditation. And now because I did it daily, it's just become part of my practice. But I start off with getting connected to I'm part of the whole universe. I'm a conscious energy connected to every other piece. And then I imagine this energy, this light emanating from my heart to the whole world. The second one is gratitude. Everything I'm grateful for the last 24 hours. And then forgiveness. That forgiveness piece is powerful. And then the third and fourth is visualization. Where am I 3 years from now? Before it used to be materialistic and now it's ontological as a being. And then what am I visualizing for today? Oh, today is the perfect day look like. And the last one is imagining the universe or getting that the universe always has your back. And I'm one with the universe. So 6 stages, and forgiveness is and I do it in silence now. And it takes about 30 minutes as I go through all the steps, or 25 to 30 minutes.
Okay. Are there any audios that you would recommend?
Yeah, I'll send you guys.
I'll
send you an audio for this.
Yeah, so for those who are not into daily meditation.
Yeah, I'll send you a really, really good one that got me started.
Thank you, Ambi.
Any other questions, guys? Alrighty. Well, on that note, so awesome to connect with you guys. Eagerly looking forward to everything and everyone you guys are going to take on forgiving. We're going to have the energy levels in our WhatsApp group go up 1 billion-fold this week. So watch this space, guys. Open hearts coming your way. Lots and lots of love. Have a fab week and speak to you soon. Bye, guys. Love the hearts, Vicky.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.